Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrew Stott, I'm the Emperor of Stomaria, and today I'm sad to announce that the Empire of Stomaria is no more. This is the video, the title, the announcement that a lot of Micronations and Micronationalists would like to see. That Stomaria has dissolved, it's become defunct, citizens have left in droves. The Micronations that made up the Empire of Stomaria have abandoned it, have seceded and declared wars and sanctions against us. That Stomaria has gone bankrupt or whatever else. This is the aspiration, the desire of a sizable number of people within the Micronational community. And the reason I want to make this particular video is to inform our own community, the Stomarian community, that these people are out there. These people do seek to undermine us. These people do seek to derail us. These people revel in the idea that we would be destroyed in some way. Because I can guarantee you that even though that this title, this announcement, this video might have struck you with surprise or fear or alarm, I can guarantee you that there will be people that have clicked on this video with elation, with joyous rapture, that yes, I have done it, I have accomplished what I set out to do. And this is the point. This is why I want to make this as clear as I can. There are people out there that wish for us to no longer be around. And I want to go through some of the specifics as to what I'm talking about. The people out there that spend the entirety of their micronational career, their involvement in the micronational community, more often than not completely anonymously, to act as the boogeymen, to act as the trolls, the people that try to start drama for their own twisted pleasure. This is what these people do to try and justify their own existence within the micronational community. In fact, there have been micronations whose entire purpose has been to try to deride and get people to look down on Stomaria. Because, I mean, I will get onto this in a little bit, the reasons and the rationale. I mean, the only reason and rationale that I can think of. But in terms of the sort of specifics, there are people out there that, for instance, will say that Empress Samantha and Princess Eleanor are not real. This is something that has genuinely been said and spread about in some circles. They are saying that they are either paid actresses or that they are, Samantha was a mail-order bride, Eleanor was adopted, or whatever else. This is something that people genuinely say about me and my family. And, it goes beyond this even, to the point where there's legal ramifications or potential legal ramifications for these sorts of accusations. Like the popular one being the accumulation of gold and silver bullion. Prior to the minting of the Stomarian Stata, we acquired silver Britannias and gold Britannias and then eventually gold sovereigns. Now, these are all legal tender in the UK. And there were those that even today will insist that they were fake, that they weren't real. That we had, paid a couple of dollars to some dodgy website and they'd sent us a bunch of fake gold and silver coins to make it look like the imperial treasury was larger than it actually was. Now, the issue with that, something that whether or not they're familiar with it or not, I do not know, but it is a criminal offence to sell, to buy, to hold, to utilise fake money in terms of Britannia's or sovereigns. It is legal tender in the UK. It is illegal. It is an illegal criminal offence to engage in that sort of activity. So what they're effectively saying is not only am I faking the content of the imperial treasury at that time, but they are saying that I committed a criminal act. And that's not something that I take lightly, and quite happily call people out on that. Because I've spent many years, even prior to these accusations being levelled against us, telling people, where to buy gold and silver, where we buy gold and silver, from reputable, legitimate sources, both in the United Kingdom and in Europe. But that was obviously never going to wash with these sorts of people, because these are the sorts of people that, again, they just want to give the impression that Stomaria is not real, that it's fake, that it's phony, that it's a scam. Because the family isn't real, the gold and silver isn't real, and what's more, the following that they have is not real. The Facebook followers that they have they're not real. The YouTube subscribers, they're not real. The citizens on their Patreon campaign, they're not real. And this is the impression that they want to give. And just to touch on the Facebook and YouTube counts just a little bit more, I mean, we've spent no shortage of time and energy and money on promoting, in particular, our Facebook page, in that we spent years promoting it to the point where we now have one of the largest, if not the largest, micronational Facebook pages around. And the problem we've always had with Facebook, though, is that the reach, the algorithm, doesn't allow us to reach more than about 0.5% to 1% of the actual followers. So if those followers aren't especially interested in what we're posting about, it just doesn't go any further than that, which has always been a big problem for us, which is one of the reasons that we transitioned to YouTube in a more meaningful way. And so we, when we had our YouTube channel monetized and have posted screenshots of the ad revenue and even I think watch hours and certainly the views that the videos and the channel itself has attracted, which is perfectly it coincides perfectly with the amount of subscribers that we have relative to other channels. So it's about what we would expect to happen. But there will still be those that insist that they're all fake subscribers. None of them are real, or very few of them are real. And again, this is just one of those, it just feeds into the narrative that they want to give, which is Stomaria is fake, Stomaria is a scam. And, this all sort of culminates into what I can only assume is a very select number of very bitter individuals, very bitter and twisted individuals. And the issue that the micronational community has always faced is that the vast majority of them are anonymous. They don't post their real names, they don't post their, where they are, they don't post who they are, so you don't know what they look like, you don't know their names, you don't know whereabouts in the world they're from. And this has always been a problem, I think, in the micronational community and possibly the world at large, because that ability to be anonymous is a power to them, because they can say and do whatever they want without any real repercussions for it. Because if they ever get called out, if their bluff is ever called, and they get shown up for what they are, which are liars, then they can just go away for a week and come back as someone else, and no one would know any different, because you don't know who that person is. It's obviously very difficult for micronations like the Empire of Stomaria, where, I have my real name out there, I have my face out there, I have my home address out there, we have the number of citizens out there, we have the land mass that we have out there, we have the amount of silver status that we have out there. Everything that we do is in the public domain, by and large. There's very little that we have in terms of privacy when it comes to what we're doing and what we're striving to accomplish and how far we've come. And we wear this on our sleeve. We make sure everyone knows who we are. We make sure everyone knows where we've come from. But for some reason, there are still those that would try to insist or insinuate that something's not quite right. And these are the kinds of people that dedicate their entirety of their existence to our destruction. They may not specifically state as much, but there have been maybe a dozen micronations that I can probably name that have been created and dissolved within the Empire of Stomaria's own history, all of which have dedicated the entirety of their, posts and updates and contributions on various social media platforms, or even a single social media platform, on trying to derail us, on trying to destroy us, in trying to spread falsehoods, in trying to get other people to jump on the bandwagon and try to build some sort of anti-Stomarian organization or alliance or whatever else. I mean, I think that might have actually been a thing at one point. I think that fell by the wayside relatively quickly, because naturally the people involved in these sorts of things are not quite all there. But this is the problem that you have when you have a community that's filled to the brim with children and adults with the minds of children. I mean, it really is as simple as that. People who can't think rationally, who don't behave rationally, and don't have an iota of credibility, of self-worth to them. So they just shamelessly spread these sorts of rumours. And I can only think that a large part of it is down to either boredom or jealousy. I can't think of it diverging anything beyond that. Boredom in the sense that they've got nothing else going on. There's no possibility of anything happening in the micronation. They might lack the time. They might lack the commitment, the financial resources, whatever it might be. They can't do what they want to do with their micronation. So what do? They try to stir up drama in order to justify their existence. That's that one. And then you have the other side of the coin, where they look at what Stomaria is doing in particular, and they can't believe that a micronation or a micronationalist could accomplish what we have accomplished. And so naturally they become envious, they become jealous, they become bitter, and they try to drag us down that way. So, I mean, I can't think of any other real reason that would happen. I mean, I'm sure more ruffled a lot of feathers simply just by existing, by having Stomaria existing. But all we have done, by and large, I'd say 99% of the content that we've ever put out there is just about what we are doing. In terms of, I mean, if you look back on our YouTube videos, I mean, what have we got? Nearly 90 videos, I think, on our YouTube over the last 2 years or so. Now, how many of those videos are dedicated to anything but the Empire of Stomaria or the How to Make a Micronation series? I can think of maybe three, where we have highlighted other micronations. And one of those wasn't even about specific micronations. So the ones I can think of are the Empire of Eternia video, where we called them out for essentially stealing our silver and merchandise when we sent them over silver stata along with some of our merchandise, and they refused to send their package that was agreed on to us, and then they refused to send our own silver and merchandise back after that. So even to this day, they have our silver, they have our merchandise, they've sent us nothing back. They've effectively stolen it. And we called them out on that, and I would do it again. And then you have the Communist Micronations Suck video. This is my video where I discuss why micronations that describe themselves as communist is such a awful idea. I never call anyone out specifically for it. I know it did ruffle a few feathers, mainly because if the shoe fits and they see some truths in what I'm saying, then obviously people will take that very poorly. But I stand by that. I don't care if, people that promote an ideology that I find disturbing, disgusting, and downright distasteful. I don't care if those sorts of people think that opinion is wrong. If I had made a video saying fascist micronations suck, I'm sure I'd get the same response from fascist micronations. Turns out that people that promote ideologies as vile as communism or fascism or neo-Nazism or whatever else, those sorts of people aren't going to take likely, aren't going to like videos that I put out there saying, yep, they all suck. They're all awful ideologies and you should not be promoting them. So that was another one. And then the third video that I can think of is the Micronational War video, where we showcased all the micronations in the last few months. This is going on for years, but we highlighted a few of the more recent ones, where micronations declared war and sanctions and investigations and embargoes and whatever else against us, because it was funny, because it was a way of highlighting the stupidity of micronational war, because it was a way of highlighting the stupidity of the wider micronational community that engages in this sort of activity. But even this sort of thing, this video is different from this micronational war aspect, because this isn't micronational war. This is individuals spreading falsehoods, lies, and rumors about Stomaria, about me, about my family. And I think part of the reason I want to make this is to warn the wider micronational community and those that want to get involved in the micronational community that this weird conception that's often bandied about how we should all be cooperating as equals because we're all brothers and sisters striving for the same cause, that the micronational community is a harmonious place or could or should be a harmonious place. This is not born in reality in any shape or form, and it never has. There are people out there that are just crazy. There are people who are like complete mavericks, people who don't have the capacity to think and behave rationally, and those people flood the community. Not just children and adolescents, but grown adults. Sometimes if they're anonymous, you can't actually tell if you're speaking to a 13-year-old or a 40-year-old sometimes. Sometimes it's a 40-year-old behaving like a child, sometimes it's a child genuinely behaving like a child. But the point stands that the micronational community is for the most part a cesspit of drama, of bickering, of backstabbing, because this isn't something that's unique to Stomaria, obviously. There are micronations that obviously want Stomaria to be destroyed for some reason or another, in some way or another. But there are other micronations out there that also go through this process, where there are people that just have this weird vendetta against someone, that spend their entirety of their existence within the micronational community trying to undermine someone else. And Stomaria is no exception to that. And as we've grown larger and become more recognizable, as more people have flocked to our banner, as more people have joined Stomaria as citizens, as more people have affiliated with us formally through alliances or by joining the Empire, by integrating their micronation into the Empire of Stomaria, the critics, they grow in number and they circle. But fortunately for us, that there's just nothing they can do to prevent us from succeeding. But if you wanted to become a part of the Stomarian community, then please feel free to do so through our Patreon campaign, the link of which I shall leave in the description below as always. You can also find the details of the other micronations involved in Stomaria down below as well. But otherwise, if you did enjoy this video, then please feel free to give it a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.